A beautiful seaside town in Sweden called Båstad is now the home of a groundbreaking concours, the Aurora. For 3 days we were overloaded with some of the best classic, exotic and sports cars of all eras and cultures. From the epic V12 Colombo Ferraris to the official presence of Koenigsegg, from both vintage legends to the living posters of childhood of many. This was only the third edition of the Aurora, but it felt so at home that looks like it has always been there, and probably will be. I'm Jay, and this is Barata On Cars and my take on the Aurora. If you enjoy this content, consider subscribing to my channel so you won't lose track of all the car culture content that we'll host. This is the glorious closing act of the golden era of pre-war Alfa Romeo, the final evolution of the legendary 6C, and boy, it has a huge name as long as its importance. This is the 1939 Alfa Romeo 6C 2500 Super Sport Spider Siluro Touring Superleggera. So let's break it down. 1939 was the year when Enzo Ferrari parted ways from Alfa Romeo after 19 years between being a race driver and a Scuderia manager. The 6C was a Vittorio Iano project, the engineer behind the Alfa Romeo P2, the first World Grand Prix champion, and also the P3, with which Enzo had so much success. Her name describes the quantity of cylinders and its displacement. The 2500 was the final version of the straight 6, an evolution made by Alfa engineer Bruno Treviso. And Super Sport meant this was a spicy variant, triple carburation, higher compression ratio, a shorter wheelbase to make it nimbler around the corners, and of course it was lighter. Then enters coach builder Carrozzeria Touring, accumulating two specifications, the classic Superleggera, which involved a lightweight aluminum body with thinner walled chassis, and Siluro, which actually is a nickname, meaning torpedo, an ingenious body shape made to lower the drag, cutting the air with a design inspired by boats and aircrafts, especially important to high-speed races from Le Mans to Mille Miglia. And yes, the front fenders did generate some lift. A machine that represents the era of when Alfa Romeo was the king of motorsport, of the exact year that Enzo Ferrari left its Arese mother to start his own entrepreneurship. In the late 90s, some street legends came to life because of racing regulations on the GT1 class of the FIA GT Championship. They required a minimum of street legal homologation cars, and this is how the Mercedes-Benz CLK GTR was born. From the street CLK, it borrowed the headlights, taillights and the grille. All the rest is a full-purpose racing sport prototype with a carbon fiber monocoque chassis, a mid-engine V12, sequential gearbox and a front overhang that will scrape if you try to run over a cigar. There is nothing Gran Turismo about it. The category name GT1 is a joke, almost a legal fiction. But because of this, somewhere between 25 and 28 units of this Le Mans prototype, built by the partnership between AMG and Team HWA, made it to the street, the Strassenversion. But of all these CLK GTR Strassenversions ever produced, this unit from the Mechatronic collection is a very particular kind of unicorn, chassis number 19, unseen from public for 15 years, the only one in dark blue metallic and one of the very few units that were equipped with the upgraded 720 horsepower 7.3 V12 engine that shares its bloodline with the Pagani Zonda S. Only two came with this engine from factory, 3 others were upgraded later on, and all the others were 6.9 612 horsepower. Utopia, a romantic act of resistance in the universe of the hypercars. No hybrid systems, no dual clutch, no four-wheel drive, no digital interfaces inside. Instead, a set of analog gauges and mechanisms with complications that will easily be at home in a luxury timepiece. Art and science is Horacio's Pagani motto, and this is the closest of a rolling sculpture that you can get. The exhaust tips, the silhouette of the mirrors, the shape and finish of the brake calipers, and even the taillights. Classic in one hand, non-earthly in another. Utopia is such a fitting name. 70% of the Utopias are 7-speed manual. The Mercedes motor remains as a silver legacy of Horacio's Pagani mentor, Juan Manuel Fangio, the man that made Pagani's journey to Europe possible, starting a Lamborghini in 1983. And well, that was not the only Utopia at the Aurora, there were two more, both finished with a exotic translucent paint job that reveals the precision of the body's carbon weave. In the 60s, hybrid meant something much sexier than batteries or electric motors. It meant a transatlantic romance, an American heart beating under the hood of an Italian project. And in the case of the Bizzarrini 5300 GT Strada and the Iso Griffo Rivolta, there was something else. Someone. The father of both cars is an Italian engineer that happened to be one of the core names behind the 250 GTO and the short wheelbase, and is also the responsible for making the legendary V12 Lamborghini engine. His name should never be forgotten, Giotto Bizzarrini. 3 years after being fired by Enzo Ferrari in the infamous Palace Revolt, Bizzarrini started working for Iso Autoveicoli in 1964, developing 3 models in collaboration with Giorgetto Giugiaro. The partnership between Rivolta and Giotto was short-lived and can be summarized by these 2 cars that share the same core but very different purposes and visions. The 5300 GT Strada is an evolution of the A3C that Giotto made for Iso Griffo. Being a race engineer, Giotto took things quite to the extreme here. The 327 5.3-liter Corvette engine was pushed so far back into the cabin that the transmission tunnel took most of the footwell. And because of this, to adjust ignition timing, you had to reach not under the hood but through a trapdoor on the dashboard inside the car. That was Giotto's vision. Even this GT Strada street version of his competition car had to be hardcore, with an aluminum body, something that even Ferrari did not use in most of his street cars. On the other hand, Renzo Rivolta had a bit more luxurious vision for his company. We can clearly see that on the Iso Griffo Rivolta, even considering that this one is a very rare Series 2 Can-Am unit. Instead of the small block Chevy, it has a 7-liter 454 big block under the hood that required a very distinctive hood scoop by Giugiaro, the penthouse. But here, the engine doesn't sit on the lap of the driver. The car is roomier, taller, more sophisticated. It has a steel body. Twin brothers with very different characters and one of the biggest what-ifs of the Italian car culture.
A little bit more of differences in between.
Koenigsegg. If you think they're about 4 figures horsepower, you've got it wrong. They're about questioning. What everyone takes for granted, permanent or defined in the super and hypercar world, they don't accept as is. They're the jazz fusion guys, the prog metal band of the automotive world. And this car summarizes everything, the Jesko Attack. It has just too much to fit into an event video. A classic swan neck active wing was not enough. They've questioned the support location, shape and function, so it works both as a support and a shark fin, straightening the flow, 1400 kilos of downforce for its 1320 kilo weight. Then there is the triplex system, a third horizontally mounted damper to control squat and dive without side effects as you would have normally by meddling with pickup points. Then there is the light-speed transmission, 9-speed, 7 multi-disc clutches that allows you to jump into any gear, no synchros, no dog rings, not even a flywheel. Then there are the carbon hollow wheels, under 6 kilos on the front, 7.7 kilos on the rear. In the end, the 1600 horsepower is just what we can grasp of this alien engineering redefinition treaty. This is where Koenigsegg's story begins. The prototype XP001, their very first car ever made, 30 years ago. It belongs to the Dubai-based Numero Uno collection. It has a 420 horsepower modified Audi V8 engine, and this was the base for the CC8, the CCR, and the whole vision of the brand and its character, including the dihedral doors opening. In the early 2000s, Koenigsegg decided they would race Le Mans at the top GT1 category, and then this was born, the CCGT, first presented at the 2007 Geneva Auto Show. Expectations were high, but regulation changes killed its career before it even started, even a bit of 288 GTO's fate. By the way, yes, we'll cover the Big 6 Ferrari in the next video, amongst with the incredible Colombo V12 selection that we've had at the Aurora. The CC850 is my favorite Koenigsegg car, but its design is such a Swedish understatement because this is a 1-to-1-to-1 car. 1385 is a figure that describes its power, its torque and its weight. They didn't have to, but still find a way to make a small revolution, the engage shift system, that allows you to have a gated 6-speed 3-pedal manual and a 9-speed multi-clutch pedal shift transmission on the same car. Yeah, there are 8 thermal cup holders on the Chimera, and maybe you need that to quench your thirst after having a sip into 2300 horsepower and a tad under 3000 Newton meters. There's not even a specific category that you can fit the Chimera into. A Hyper Grand Tourer for very thirsty clients maybe? Like I said, Koenigsegg is always questioning, and it's pretty clear that they are having a good time and a lot of fun in the process. Think about an unexpected crossover and you'll find this. The original Chimera itself was already the past and the future together, a modern carbon fiber reimagined build of the epic rally legend Lancia 037. But then they joined forces with Koenigsegg and we have a tesseract of space-time. 1000 horses from the Swedish 5-liter twin-turbo V8 rode through a 7-speed manual gearbox, rear-wheel drive only. This is like the Group B spirit packed into a Group C Le Mans prototype spec sheet, including an insane amount of downforce and weight under 1000 kilos. Hypercar won't fit in such craziness. This is Can-Am reborn. There's a reason why the Volvo P1800 looks so Italian. A very young Pelle Pettersson, son of a Volvo executive, was in an internship with Pietro Frua when he penned its line in secret. And this is the last of the 3 Italian prototypes manufactured by Carrozzeria Frua, the P958X3. Restored to perfection through 15 years, this is a small and precious gem of the Swedish car culture. This was the very first Barata On Cars video. In a few days we'll have the second episode of the Aurora 2026 and there is a lot coming on the next days, weeks and months. Classic car stories, project cars from Sweden, track day adventures, car reviews and a lot of car culture. I'm J Barata and I founded Flat Out Brazil 13 years ago, and with this channel a new global adventure begins. If you enjoyed this content, subscribe to the channel, make a comment, you make the difference. See you next time.